Protecting the mortal realm from those dangers from beyond, from other planes of existence, the Oath of the Watchers are really there to protect all of us. They're the Avengers. The Oath of the Watchers is the Avengers. Hey fellow Game Masters, I'm Richard Quiner. Welcome back to the RPG Daily, your daily dose of all things tabletop role-playing games, helping you build your world and master your game. If you haven't subscribed to the channel, why not? I would appreciate that. Also, make sure you like this video if you like the content I'm about to present, and go join the Discord server so you can chat D&D with other D&D folks like myself. Diving into the Oath of the Watchers, it's important that we remember that this is an unearthed arcana or playtest material content. It is not officially published yet, and we'll see a lot of reasons why that is the case, and hopefully they might make some changes before it does become officially published. If it does. The whole point behind the Oath of the Watchers is that when dealing with threats from beyond the mortal realm, it takes a little special someone to deal with that. Not every adventurer, not every paladin can stand up to these threats, and so the Oath of the Watchers are there to help. They have honed their mind and body and spirit into the perfect weapon, trifecta tool, to face these deadly evils, and we're better off for it. They've also developed a network of spies in every major city and even smaller cities in order to keep an eye on the things happening. They're very suspicious of a lot of different aspects of life, and that suspicion has helped them keep us safe. So, that all in mind, let's talk about the tenets of the Oath of the Watchers. As we all know, tenets are the basic beliefs that every paladin within an oath holds, and so each oath has their own special set. For the Oath of the Watchers, their first one is vigilance. Vigilance means you have to stay alert to the dangers that are out there. The enemies of the Oath of the Watchers are very powerful, not mortal realm kind of beings, so you gotta keep an eye out for that. Loyalty. Loyalty to yourself, to your order, to your friends, comrades, however you want to call them. Don't make deals with fiends or those who associate with the fiends, because that would be disloyal. And last, of course, is discipline, where you have to keep your blade sharp and your mind keen, because there's a lot of threats out there and you never know when you're going to need your faculties to defeat them. Thematically speaking, these tenets are kind of interesting. It's a really kind of cool idea behind the Oath of the Watchers, but let's get into the Oath of the Watchers spells. Oath spells, as we know, are similar to cleric spells and artificer spells. There are two spells that you get at certain levels that are always prepared, and no matter what list they originally came off of, they are paladin spells for you in this oath. As always, I don't go into a lot of depth with these spells here, it's just a brief overview, but here is what you get. At level 3, you're getting the spell Alarm and Chromatic Orb. Chromatic Orb is a ranged spell attack that lets you hurl a 4-inch ball of energy at a creature. You get to choose the type of damage. It can be one of the energy type damage. If you make a successful hit with your Chromatic Orb, it deals 3d8 damage of the energy type that you chose. At level 5, you get Augury and Moonbeam. Augury is a divination type spell that lets you consult the runes, for example. You get to throw the bones on the ground and see what they say. You get to draw straws, you get to flip a card. There's a lot of different ways you can cast this spell of Augury, but it all gives you the same result. It lets you present a scenario with a course of action to the GM, and they have to tell you whether that will be a good result, a bad result, both good and bad results, or neither good nor bad results. It's very vague in how this spell actually works and how the DMs are supposed to make the decisions. It's really just a storytelling kind of spell. It's all about the story that's being told. At level 9, you'll get the spells Counterspell and Non-Detection. Counterspell is self-explanatory by the name, but Non-Detection lets you shield a person, a place, or a thing with a certain size limit. You shield it from divination magics, being detected by the magic, being scryed upon, that kind of things. You're able to protect it. At level 13, you get Aura of Purity and Banishment. We've talked about Banishment in other videos, and I want you to go watch those, so go do that. But Aura of Purity creates a 30-foot radius aura from you that protects yourself and any friendly creatures within the aura. First up, they are immune to being diseased, so they can't gain a disease. Second up, they are resistant to poison damage while they are within this aura. And last, you gain advantage on saving throws versus effects that will cause certain conditions. Those conditions being blinded, charmed, deafened, frightened, paralyzed, poisoned, or stunned. At level 17, you get the spells Hold Person and Hallow. Hallow is an interesting spell. There's a lot involved in it, and so this is, like I said, it's a brief overview on this. It lets you touch a point, a place, and it creates a 60-foot radius area that is hallowed ground, or infused with a holy spirit, with a holy power, right? We start with that. This holy power infusion gives the area itself a lot of different abilities and bonuses. The first one being that Fays, Fiends, Celestials, Elementals, and Undead are not allowed inside this space. The other thing is creatures within this space cannot be charmed, possessed, or frightened by those creatures of that type that are outside, and if those creatures inside the hallowed ground are already possessed, frightened, or charmed, that experience ends. Those conditions are gone when they're in this hallowed ground. It's really important that you read the rules. The last thing that this spell does is allow you to activate another ability. There's several listed in the book. You should read up on them and see what they do. At level 3, you're going to get your Channel Divinity abilities. We know you get 2 choices of Channel Divinity abilities. You can use one of them once per day. That's how it kind of works. So let's talk about these Channel Divinity abilities. The first one is Watcher's Will. This lets you use your divine abilities to kind of ward other creatures and protect them. You can choose a number of creatures within 30 feet of you up to your Charisma ability score modifier, and you give them this warding power, which means for the next minute, they gain advantage on any intelligence, wisdom, or charisma saving throws. The other Channel Divinity of the Watchers is called Abjure the Extraplanar. This is when you get to Abjure, which we've talked about before. You're basically doing a turn kind of scenario. You're a turn undead kind of ability. You present your holy symbol, you speak the command word, but this time it affects any elementals, fays, fiends, or aberrations. All of those creatures that can see you within range must make a wisdom saving throw. If they fail the wisdom saving throw, then they are turned. A turned creature must use all of its power to get away from the turner. So the turnee has to get away from the turner. They can use their actions to move as a dash action. They use their full movement. If they run into a wall or a corner and they cannot move anywhere except for closer to the person that turned them, then they may, instead of using the dash, they may use their action to dodge, because they cannot voluntarily move closer to the creature that turned them. This turning effect, again on Elemental, Fey, Fiend, or Aberrations, lasts for 1 minute. At level 7, you get the ability Aura of the Sentinel. This one, again, increases your aura arsenal as a Paladin, and has a 10-foot radius range from you being the center of. While you are not incapacitated, this aura is kind of an alertness boost to your party. You and any creatures that you choose within your aura can gain a bonus to their initiative roll. The bonus being equal to your Charisma ability score modifier. At level 18, of course, this aura increases its range from 10-foot radius to a 30-foot radius. At level 15, you get the ability Vigilant Rebuke. At level 15, they have this theme where they get to rebuke things or retaliate against an opponent. This one works on Spellcaster. When you see a creature within 30 feet of you make and succeed a saving throw versus a spell effect, you can use your reaction to cause the Spellcaster to take 2d8 plus your Charisma modifier in force damage. No rolls, they just take the damage. At level 20, you get the ability Mortal Bulwark, and this is pretty powerful compared to other oaths, in my opinion, so let's get into all the things you can do with this one. First up, you activate this ability as a bonus action, and the effects last for 1 minute. For that 1 minute time, you have True Sight for 120 feet, meaning you can see invisible things, things on other planes of existence. It's pretty great. This also gives you advantage on attack rolls against elementals, fays, fiends, and aberration. On top of that, when you hit a creature of this type with your attack, you can force them to make a charisma saving throw. If they fail that saving throw, they are banished back to their original plane of existence. If they succeed on the saving throw, though, they cannot be banished by this Mortal Bulwark for another 24 hours. So they're basically stuck here unless you use a banishment spell, which could happen. Once you've used this feature, you will not be able to use it again until you take a long rest. The Oath of the Watchers, when I was reading it, it was screaming Avengers at me. Here's the people, they're supposed to defend the world against the threats from outside. Cool. I like that idea. I like Avengers. That's neat. But as I was reading through it, it took me a while to see the theme going on within this subclass. It took me a bit. It wasn't as blatant as other subclasses are. The main theme that I picked out of this was this is designed to deal with spellcasters the same way that other subclasses would deal with melee attacks, or things coming in close. Giving advantage to your allies on saving throws is really powerful against some of these abilities that these extraplanar creatures will bring into the game, such as charming abilities, frightened, these kind of things. It's a good defense against that. It took me a bit to see that, though, so maybe I'm just dull. All that said, though, I think this oath really would have a place in an adventure that deals with that largely. For example, if you were to hold an adventure in a Spelljammer type scenario, I think this would come into play quite a bit because you'll be dealing with extraplanar creatures a lot. It could also come in handy in a elemental Princes of the Apocalypse kind of scenario where you're dealing with elemental planes coming into it. So there is some utility there for it. I'm not super crazy about it, though. That's my first initial thoughts, is I'm not crazy about it. There are other oaths that just call out and sound so much more interesting, but that's my opinion. Let me know your opinion in the comments below. I've been Richard. Thanks for watching.